If you've been studying Arabic for any length of time, then undoubtedly you come across the three terms ism, fe'l, and harf. Ism is generally translated as noun, the fe'l is referred to as verb, and the harf, they call it a particle. So exactly what are these? And how do they correspond to the parts of speech that we know in English? That's the topic of this presentation.
So we want to develop them, and we want a very clear, crystal clear understanding of what these three are. Okay, because when people speak, they speak in sentences, and sentences are made up of phrases, and phrases are made up of words. So you got to know the word. And luckily, there's only three of them. In English, there's more. There's like 8 plus parts of speech in English. So if we wanted to talk about these and give definitions, we wouldn't start with that. What we do is we revisit the ones we know in English. Okay, and we line them up and spend a few minutes on those. Okay, so if you're not familiar with the English parts of speech, that's fine, because we'll spend 2-3 minutes, because this is more productive than directly trying to define the ism, the fe'l, and the harf, as you'll see. So we have nouns, pronouns, adjectives, and adverbs. So very briefly, what are they? So a noun is the part of speech which is like entities, places, people, things, objects, concepts. Pronouns are smaller words that are used in place of the noun when the noun has already been mentioned. Okay, and there's various kinds of pronouns like he, she, they, you, which we call personal pronouns. And then there's pronouns that are used to introduce questions like who and what, and they're called interrogative pronouns. And then there's other pronouns that create conditional statements like whoever comes to you, honor him. So we call them conditional pronouns. So bottom line is that the second part of speech is pronouns. We have noun, which is place, person, thing, and then we have pronoun, smaller words used in place of nouns when the nouns have already been referenced. And there's various kinds of those. And then the next one, the third one, is adjective, which is a part of speech which modifies a noun. And an adverb is the part of speech which modifies other than a noun. So examples of adjectives would be tall, small, ugly, beautiful. And examples of adverb would be like quickly, such as in came quickly. The verb is the part of speech which is action plus tense. So something happening in the past, something happening now, or something is yet to happen and will happen in the future. So like hit, helps, is helping, helped, are all examples of verbs. Okay, now the next three parts of speech are prepositions, conjunctions, and articles, and that's it. There's only 8. And if there's more, then it doesn't really matter, because our point right now is not to exhaust English grammar, but we're using this as a bridge, and we're using this to facilitate our understanding of the Arabic parts of speech. Okay, because what we're going to do right now is going to blow your mind. Okay, so we have our 3 parts of speech. Prepositions. What is a preposition? A preposition is a part of speech in English that brings out an attribute of an upcoming word, such as the word from, or like the word to, to. So to indicates destination, and from indicates origin. So when you line up the word from with an upcoming word, and you say something like, I traveled from Basra to Kufa. I traveled from Basra to Kufa. Basra is the name of a city, and Kufa is the name of another city. So what the word from did is it told us that Basra is the origin of the travel. And if you take away the from, and you say only, I traveled Basra, then the meaning changes, because it doesn't have to be origin anymore. But rather, I traveled Basra, it means I took a tour. You see? So it's incredibly important, the word from. It told us something about Basra that otherwise we would not have been able to understand. Okay? And another example is the word with. That's a preposition also, and it indicates that the upcoming noun is a tool. So I wrote with the pen is telling us that the pen was the tool for the writing. Right? And then our next part of speech is conjunction. And these again are small little words that are used to gather between or combine between nouns and verbs, and they allow abbreviation, so you don't have to repeat yourself, and you don't have to say the thing twice. So you say something like Zaid and Amr came. So instead of having to say Zaid came, period, capital letter, Amr came, so there's no need to say came twice. Just use the word and now we have Zaid and Amr both gathered together in being the subject of the verb came. Right? And then there's various examples of conjunctions, which we'll give to you on the upcoming slides. Or and not are further examples of conjunctions. So or is telling us that one of the two came without being specific which one. Not is telling us that the earlier is established and the upcoming is negated. So coming is established for Zaid and simultaneously negated from Amr. So affirmation of the first, negation of the second. That's what not does. Zaid came, not Amr. Again, conjunctions, however many there are, what they all have in common is that they're used to combine between nouns and verbs while allowing for abbreviation, so you don't have to repeat yourself and say the verb twice, for example. And then we have the article, which there's only 2 of them in the entire language. The definite article, which is the word the, which suggests something particular, such as in the pen. And then we have the indefinite article, a, like in the example, a pen, which tells us any of many. Okay, so now our 8 parts of speech, again, are nouns, pronouns, adjectives, and adverbs. And very quickly, noun is the part of speech which indicates on place, person, thing. Pronoun is a smaller word that's used in place of a noun when the noun has already been mentioned. Adjective is the part of speech that modifies a noun. Adverb is the part of speech which modifies other than a noun. And a verb is action plus tense. Prepositions are small little words that tell us attributes about the upcoming words that otherwise cannot be understood, such as from and to. From indicates origin, and to indicates destination. Conjunctions are parts of speech in English that facilitate combining between nouns and verbs without having to repeat yourself. And then we have the article, which are only 2 in the entire language: the definite article the and the indefinite article a. So what we do now is we take our ism, fe'l, and harf, and we line them up with these 8. And we say ism corresponds to the top 4. Okay, so an ism doesn't mean just noun. It means nouns, pronouns, adjectives, and adverbs. And a verb is exactly what we call fe'l. So what we call fe'l is exactly what the English people call verb. And then the last 3, and if there's any more, you can just add them to those bottom few, and they will all fall under our third one, which is called harf. Okay, so now that we have a very good understanding of what ism, fe'l, and harf correspond to, it's time to give precise definitions for each of them. So in order to define, what we do is we spend a few minutes pondering on the commonalities and the differences. So harf doesn't just include one thing, it includes 3 things. It includes prepositions, conjunctions, and articles. So what we do now is we throw on the screen a whole bunch of prepositions, conjunctions, and articles without any particular order. We just throw them up there on the screen. A big mess, right? And then we'll look, what's common between all of them? Try to figure that out. What's the element that connects all of them? You see? And that would be the harf, wouldn't it? Okay, and if it doesn't have that, then automatically it has to be the other 2. And then we do the same thing with the other 2 and try to look for a difference there, that what distinguishes the verb from nouns, pronouns, adjectives, and adverbs, right? Okay, so we can start by throwing up some prepositions, conjunctions, and articles on the screen. So we have the word in, which is a preposition, indicates containment. And then this from, which is another preposition, to, with, and, which is an example of a conjunction, or, not, but. These are all examples of conjunctions. And then we have a, and I think that's enough, and the word the. So these are all examples of harf. Okay, if you want to go more broad, these are all examples of harf. Every one of them is a harf. Now, what do they have in common? Okay, so let's look at their meanings. So, and suggests gathering. So when I use it in a sentence and I say Zayd and Amr came, so what and did is gathered Zayd and Amr together. Okay, or indicates disjunction, that it's one of the 2 that the ruling is applying to and not both. So it's one of the 2 without being specific which one. Not indicates affirmation of the first and negation of the second. So Zayd came, not Amr. So the coming is affirmed for Zayd and simultaneously it's negated from Amr. In indicates containment, like the water is in the bottle or the water is in the cup. From suggests origin, and with indicates utility. So if you look at all of them, you'll have to agree that the commonality is that they all indicate meanings in something else. Okay, because origin is not an attribute of the from, it's an attribute of the upcoming word, the Basra word, from Basra. Okay, because if you remove it, then the meaning changes, and that's the element that disappears, and it becomes I took a tour, right? And they're all like that. They're all like that, right? Contrast that to the word tree, which would not be a harf, because tree is an example of a noun. So tree, what does that indicate? It indicates trunk, it indicates roots, it indicates branches and leaves, and maybe fruit. Okay, so all of those things, are they contained within the tree, or are they contained outside the tree, somewhere else? The answer is clearly it's the tree, which is the tree. It's the tree that possesses the trunk. It's the tree that has the roots. It's the tree that has the branches and the leaves and the fruits. So we have 2 elements here. We have indicating a meaning in something else versus indicate a meaning in itself. So if it indicates a meaning in something else, then that's the primary ingredient that makes a harf a harf. And indicate a meaning in itself would be the primary ingredient that makes the other ones, whatever they are, And then since there's more of them, then there's something that's distinguishing the top four from the verb. And what is that? That's tense. Clearly, right? So the noun, the pronoun, the adjective, and the adverb indicate a meaning in themselves and are empty of tense, whereas the fi'l has tense. So now we're ready to give precise definitions. Okay, so here are the definitions. Ism is the part of speech in Arabic that indicates on a meaning in itself and is not linked to time. Right? And examples are Zayd, Shajara, which means tree, Qalam, which means pen, Ash-Shamsu, which means the sun, Al-Qamaru, which means the moon. Right? And fe'l is the part of speech in Arabic that indicates a meaning in itself and is also linked to time. And the examples are daraba, nasara, sami'a, akrama. Daraba means hit, sami'a means heard, nasara means helped, so helping in the past, sami'a means heard, hearing in the past, akrama means honored. Right? And istansara is another example which means sought help. Okay, our third part of speech is harf, and this is the part of speech in Arabic that does not indicate on a meaning in itself, but rather in something else. And the examples here are min, fi, wa, aw. Min means from, fi means in, wa means and aw means or. And that's it. That's the development of the parts of speech. So we did it by surfacing the English parts of speech and then explaining them, spending a few minutes on them, and then immediately lining up the Arabic parts of speech with the English ones to try to get a feel and an understanding of what they correspond to. And then we look for the commonalities and the differences, which then led us to the definitions. And this topic is now totally done. It's totally done. Like, I mean, it's done in a way that I don't think you'll forget it.
Now that we're done with the three parts of speech presentation, I'd like to draw your attention to a free workshop that I put together that's about 3 hours of instruction, and you can find the link to it in the description below. The three parts of speech is key. Like, you can't start anything. Even our other brothers that use a different approach to the way we're presenting the material here, and they say focus on vocabulary and learn a gazillion words, and do that first, and then delay the study of grammar. I don't think that they would suppress from the student the three parts of speech. Even they would feel that, the students need to know what an ism is, what a fe'l is, and what a harf is. So hopefully you found that valuable, like the way it was presented there, and you found it was presented in a way that should stick with you. So even if you needed to present it to someone else, you should be able to present it to someone else, because we took something you already knew and we used it as a bridge in order to get this knowledge of the three parts of speech, so you have a very precise understanding of what they are. So if you like this style, and if this resonated with you, then I'd like to invite you to look under this video, and in the description there's a link to a particular workshop that at this stage thousands of people are already watching, and people are going through that material. So it's absolutely free, and you can go through the workshop, and if the approach is something that resonates with you, then you can consider signing up for the premium program, because we've been teaching this material, we've been teaching Arabic for well over 2 decades. I taught my first classes in the summer of 2001. From the basement of my home, there was 4 students that quickly became 40, and then we went online in the year 2004, and there's been about 6,000 to 7,000 students that have gone through this method, and I'd like to share with you the best of my ideas in this workshop. So go ahead, look under this video and click the link, and I'll see you on the other side. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.